So Mary, first of all, thank you so much for answering all those questions. And it really helps me just see how difficult this has to be of what you're going through. The fact that you've been through a lot of difficulties, and the fact that you're in this room right now is pretty impressive. And it also seems this recent diagnosis of COPD, it's been really tough. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of hope that's going on right now.
No, I'm gonna die. I died a horrible death.
Absolutely. And I could just imagine just what your mind is telling you right now and all these different things, especially about trying to quit smoking, which you put a lot of effort into as well, and to still be in this spot.
I don't know how many times I've quit. I've quit a lot of times.
Right? And again, this is the thing that is so difficult about this, because one, quitting is hard in and of itself, but then seeing how our mind can really block us and really kind of tear us down, and as we said, really make things seem just hopeless in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So Mary, I wonder if you'd be willing to do an exercise with me to show why sometimes our minds do that kind of beat us down and kind of make us feel hopeless. Would you be okay doing an exercise with that?
Couldn't hurt anything.
I appreciate your willingness.
Yeah.
I really do. You've been a trooper today. I really appreciate that. So I wonder if you could think back to some of the things that we were talking about before. Maybe around the age of 14 and a couple of years before, when things really got bad with the family. And if you're imagining those times, if you could come up with a word or maybe a phrase that describes what that experience was like, what word or phrase would you use to say that describes that experience?
Kind of lost.
Okay. So I'm just going to write that up here. Now, building off of that lost experience, how has that lost experience, and what has that lost experience taught you about yourself? Going through that lost experience, what did it teach you about yourself?
Lots of loneliness. You're on your own.
You're on your own, absolutely. And early. Okay. So I'm on my own.
Nobody cares.
Okay. And building off of that, what has it taught you about the world just in general?
You better be careful. Yeah, be careful.
And I would imagine the reason why we're saying is almost because the world is not a safe place to be in a lot of times. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I wonder if I could show you a little bit about how our mind works with this. Okay. So when we learn that something equals something, so if we learn that this lost experience teaches us that I'm on my own, there's no one who cares, I better be careful, would be safe. And just to show how this works, it's almost like learning that A equals B. Like we get the experience that something equals something. Now what's neat about humans and how our mind works is that once we learn that A equals B, we also know that B has to come back and equal A. So in our experience, not only do we know that this lost experience has taught us all these things, we also know that these experiences come back and relate to that experience of being lost. So stay with me with this. Now, what's really interesting about it is that if we add a third letter to this equation, so if we add the letter C, and we learn that A equals B, and we also learn that B equals C, not only do we now know that C comes back and equals B, but we also know that A and C have to equal each other. We almost get to cut out B, okay? Now, the third part to this equation is you.
C?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're C.
Okay.
You're the one that went through the lost experience. You're the one that went through that around those ages of 14. And we know that this lost experience taught us these things about yourself and the world. And what our mind tends to do is that it will cut this out, and now you are these things. That you are on your own. That no one cares about you. That you're made up of the world being a scary place. No longer is it the experience of what you went through, the lost experience taught you these things. Our mind now pairs these two things together. And the irony about it, this is probably one of the things that's actually kept you pretty safe, and is the reason that you're probably in this room right now, is because this has made you a fighter and made you a survivor.
Yeah.
But it takes a toll. It takes a toll on us when this is the only program that our mind is feeding us, that we're lost, that no one cares about us, that we're not worthy of being cared for. Now, I want to come back to this, but let me ask you this. Who's like the one person in your life right now that you would say, that's my person? Like, that's the person that I love more than anybody. That's the person that absolutely I would do anything for.
My grandson.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought it was going to be your grandson
Yeah.
that you said. And what's your grandson's name again? I forget what it was.
Sam.
Sam. All right, so I'm going to draw Sam over here. I'm not an artist, so don't judge my drawing. But this is Sam. I wonder if you could imagine if Sam came to you one day, and what does Sam call you? Does he call you grandma or?
Yeah.
Okay. If Sam came to you one day and said, Grandma, I feel like I'm on my own. I feel like no one cares. I feel like the world isn't safe and I really need to be careful about what I do because it's dangerous. Basically, if Sam came to you one day and told you all of these things that you just said that you were experiencing, if you can imagine that, Sam coming to you one day, maybe he has tears in his eyes as he's telling you this, what do you think you would tell Sam? What do you think you would do for Sam if he came to you one day and said that?
Well, I'd tell him I care. I love him.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I love him, and I'd do anything for him.
I'd do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary, it didn't seem like you had to think about that. It seemed like that was pretty automatic, that if Sam came to you. And if Sam came to you with tears in his eyes, would you tell him to stop crying or to get rid of those tears? What would you do?
Oh, I'd just say, oh, honey, it's going to be all right. It's kind of happened before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When he was little, now Sam's, he's 23, he's having a baby in his life.
Absolutely. Which is one of the reasons why I know, as you said before, how worried we are about this diagnosis, because you want to be there
Mm-hmm.
for them. So, you know, this seems like this stuff, which I would almost classify as kind of love and kindness and compassion that you would show Sam, and you would show that automatically. Let me ask you this. How often do you say these things or show these things to yourself? How often are you showing love and kindness the way that you would show it to Sam?
I don't do that.
No.
I never did.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when we go through things like this lost experience, which then teaches us these things about ourselves and the world,
Yeah.
there isn't much room for this love and kindness program to grow.
No.
It's anything but.
Yeah. I tell myself, buck up.
Right?
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
Nobody cares
No one cares.
about your problems.
And you know what's difficult about it is, and I'm sure people have told you this before, it's like, well, Mary, you just gotta be nice to yourself. You just gotta be kind to yourself. You just gotta love yourself. But the problem is that this is the program that has pretty much dominated our experiences.
Nobody tells me to be nice to myself.
No one does.
Not really, no. It's not been like the way people talk to me.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
And this is when you're going to try to do something like quit smoking and better health.
Yeah.
Things that are really difficult to do. When you don't have a program that is supportive, like you would be for Sam, it makes it really difficult. So let me ask you this, and this might be a weird question to ask, or a weird way of asking this. If you were to show yourself love, if you were to show yourself support and kindness like you would show Sam, if you were to do these things for yourself, what would that look like? How would we know you were doing that?
I'd probably just pour water on the pack of cigarettes I have in my purse when I get home
Okay,
and say, you can do it.
okay,
You're worth it.
okay. I want to ask you right now, as you just said that you can do it, you're worth it. What did your mind say after that? Was it supportive? Was it kind of like this program, or was it more this program?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary, I would love for you to go and pour water on your cigarettes. I think that would be great. And at the same time, I also would like for us to maybe do some things that would show some kindness and maybe build that up a little bit more. Instead of just trying to quit the smoking right now. Maybe we can also, at the same time as we're trying to quit smoking, really try to build up this new program within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned some things, such as hanging out with family, especially the grandkids that you enjoy. You know, you mentioned about having been doing it a lot lately, reading and getting out and socializing a little bit more. Do any of those behaviors, such as reading, socializing with friends and family, do any of those behaviors reflect that you're being kind and loving toward yourself?
Yeah.
Which one do you think reflects it the most?
Being with, the grandson, and his they're not married, but being with his partner,
Mhm.
and helping them any way I can, cooking something for them, like cooking banana bread. They like that.
Yeah, it's making my mouth water right now. Is it pretty good banana bread? Yeah? Okay. Now let me ask you this. I know there's a lot going on right now. How often, realistically, would you be able to do something like that, like cook banana bread and be with Sam and his partner? How often do you think that's able to happen?
I could do that. I could do something kind for them every day. I mean, why couldn't I?
Okay.
I mean, not cooked every day, but
Okay.
call, or maybe not every day, maybe just on the weekends or days I'm not working.
I like it.
Yeah.
Again, because you're married. It's amazing to see everything that you're doing, but as busy as you are.
I gotta work. I gotta keep working.
Absolutely. So it seems like on the off days.
Yeah.
Okay. And since it might happen once or twice a week, do you think it would be more of a phone call? Would you like to maybe go over to see them? What do you think would be the goal that we want to set up?
I'd do both of those.
Okay.
I can do both of those. I can't go probably every day, but he comes over
Okay.
every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
And so I could cook something that
I
day.
love it. So every Sunday, when he's coming over, we can cook for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to wrap this up, I love this goal. I wonder if there would be something that we can do, maybe right before Sam comes over, or right before you start to cook, that could signal to your mind that this is your moment of doing this. That almost to like say, hey, mind, wake up right now. We're turning this program on. We're going to show love and kindness by seeing Sam today, by cooking for Sam today.
How would I do that?
You know, I have a suggestion, and I would love to know your thought on this. The one thing that I like to suggest sometimes is to tap yourself on the chest. If you want to do that even right now, to even take your hand and tap yourself on the chest. And either say out loud or internally to yourself, this is my moment of showing love. This is my moment of showing kindness. I'm not doing this behavior, I'm not hanging out with Sam, I'm not cooking for Sam, just for the hell of it. But I'm doing this intentionally to show love and kindness towards myself.
Wow. Okay.
What came up right there? What's your mind telling you right now as you hold your chest right now?
Oh no, it said that's different.
Yeah.
That's different. And it didn't say, you suck.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm glad that's what the mind said there. That's different. Because you know what? It is different from this. This is a new program that we're going to be building. So I wonder if we could set that goal on Sunday, before Sam comes over, we're going to cook. And before we start to cook, to have that brief moment of that tap on the chest. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm showing that I have love in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's being intentionally shown. To wrap up, I wanted to ask, and I think it's always a good question to ask, of how helpful you think today's visit was. And 1 being, this wasn't helpful at all. 10 being, this was out of the park helpful. Where would you place this number at?
Well, it was helpful, I'd say. I don't know. 7, 8, it certainly wasn't what I thought.
Okay.
I felt, I thought it would be real different.
Okay.
Yeah.
That different word comes up again.
But I thought, I would just feel worse after, and I don't feel worse.
Okay.
I feel better.
How confident do you feel about being able to complete this goal? If we did that same scale. 1 being, I'm not confident at all, I'm not going to do this. 10 being,
this?
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
10.
Nice.
I'll do that.
And thank you for being willing to do that. And I have to say, my mind, as you just said that right now, I'm going to do that. My mind got excited.
Oh,
because
your mind did?
My mind got excited because it shows, again, that strength and resilience that you have. So let's set that goal. What do you think would be useful as far as us checking back in on about how this went? This cooking for Sam on Sundays and that tap on the chest. When do you think it would be helpful to check back in on that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I know you have an appointment coming back in a month or so to check back in on the CBD and how the smoking's going. I think we could meet up at that appointment then to check in, or I think we could also maybe even meet up in a couple weeks to see how this is going.
Yeah, I think I'd like to come back sooner.
Yeah.
Because this is a new way. This is new for me.
That's where my mind went to, is to maybe come back in a couple weeks and to build off of this. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. I'm also going to write down the goal that we have right here, and we'll come back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Does that sound all right? All right. Mary, again, thank you so much for your willingness today, and I'm excited to see what happens in 2 weeks.
Okay.